くださいな。永遠を手にしたいなんてさ、見せつけたい強さを感じていたい。ミニコリコの欲は人の姿、クイーンについてしまえ。骨の隅までもこのまま消し去ってしまってもいいさ。涙が流れてる、涙は誰のためなの。もう嫌だ、嘘は嫌。気まぐれなジェニー、叫びまくるイカレでよにその命果てる時まで叫べ、時を止めな狂いましょう。我を忘れて生きるようにゴージャスは歓喜のつく。ああ神様、奇跡をくださいな。それを手に入れるだけさ。操りたい、もう手そびたい。朝どりこな毒は悪の腹が噛みついてしまえ。骨の隅までもこのまま消し去ってしまってもいいさ。なのに震わせる心は誰のためなの。もう嫌だ、嘘は嫌。怖くまでジェニー、クイーンについてしまえ。骨の隅までもこのまま消し去ってしまってもいいさ。なのに震わせる命は誰のためなの。もう嫌だ、嘘は嫌。気まぐれのジェニー、わがままなジェニー。
Hello, good evening. And oh god, I've got a bit of an echo here. Is that better? Yeah, had my other PC on, so that was giving a bit of an echo. So got rid of that. However, hello, good evening, and welcome to this, our 50th, yes, our 50th Facebook Live edition for Starfury events. Can't believe we've got up to 50 now. That's a lot. Has been over 5 years though, because we started doing these to keep people updated on what was happening and what we were going to be doing during the pandemic. And we wanted to keep people updated, keep them aware of what's going on. People like these updates, so we've been doing them ever since. So this is our 50th. Haven't done a Facebook in a while. Last one was last August, actually, I believe, but I got so busy with Invasion and Warp 1 and Enchanted and all of those events, I didn't have time to do a Facebook Live. There aren't any major updates for tonight. There's one or two, but nothing really major, but I thought it'd be nice to have a quick update just before Christmas. I will also be doing another Facebook Live on the 26th of December. On Friday, the 26th of December. That won't be an update, and there won't be any news on the events happening in 2026. That'll just be a retrospective of all the events that we held in 2025. So that's the next Facebook Live. You can put that in your diary. That's in 2 weeks' time, just after Christmas. That's going to be our end of year Facebook Live. But tonight, I'm going to go through all the different events that we have set for 2026. We finished with 2025. We're now looking forward to 2026. We've got a whole pile of events for you to look forward to, some exciting events, some exciting guests, and some exciting times planned ahead for you guys. I'll let you know all of those, and we'll deal with them as per usual in chronological order. Firstly, though, I thought I would take a break from our usual format and the usual norm, and I would have a little discussion and talk about some of the topics that I always get asked about by attendees regarding my events. And one of the most common thing that I get asked all the time is how I choose what shows I cover. Which shows do I cover? Why do I cover certain shows? Why won't I cover other ones? And why do I stop running events around a certain show? Get asked that all the time. And what it boils down to is that I'm a fan myself. I'm a huge geek, love science fiction television, grew up on it, was a huge fan. Since I started watching television at like 3 or 4, straight away I was a huge fan of Star Trek and Doctor Who, which is still popular today, but other shows at the time like Blake 7 and Space 1999 and UFO. Always been a massive horror film buff, big comic fanatic, love video games. That was my whole life. I've always been a huge geek, and that was what led me into running conventions. Because even before I started running conventions, I used to attend a lot of events, and I used to love spending lots of time with fellow fans and interacting with like-minded people. And that's what I've always really enjoyed at events. I enjoy a convention where it's got a good social side, so you can get to know, it's not just about meeting the actors, and getting photos and autographs, but making new friends and catching up with old ones. That's what events really kind of like can be important to me. And I usually always, as I said, most of the time I run a convention around a show that I'm actually into myself. It all started, Starfury started 28 years ago because I was a massive fan of a television series called Babylon 5. I was a huge fan of the show, and that drew me into holding a Babylon 5 convention. And that's where it all started from that point. And so if I'm a fan of a show, usually that's what leads me onto it. I also usually try and avoid conventions that already have a dedicated event to them, because if there's already like when I first started running conventions, other people were doing Stargate and Star Trek. Other people were doing Supernatural and shows which I'm actually now covering now, but back then I didn't cover them because there were other organizers doing it. And what it does is it creates a situation where it splits the fan base. The fans can't afford to do all events and have to choose which ones it does. But at the same time, it raises the costs of running events because the events start competing with each other for the guests. So I'd always try and cover something that isn't really being covered properly. And it's usually something that I would like to go to myself. Whether I'm a fan or not of a show, though, it does actually seem a very controversial point with attendees online. I'm always seeing this online or hearing attendees saying this to my face at events, because if I won't run a show around a series they're into because I'm not into it, they get very upset about that. And they say, just because I'm not a fan myself, that shouldn't stop me from holding an event if there's the demand for it. But then when I have on a few times run events around shows that I wasn't a fan of, then online people get equally angry because I'm not a fan of the show, and they get really annoyed about that, which is also kind of odd because I know a couple of the organizers of some of the Comic Cons around the UK, and they're not a fan of anything, and people are fine with that. But people have got to make their minds up on that front. But usually I am a fan of the show, and I usually, when I watch a show, if I feel, oh, that looks like it could work for an event or something, and when I look into it, I try and gauge what the level of the fan base is and how much interest there is. You can usually do that by looking online, but you speak to people at events and so forth and get an idea of the level of the demand. And also I'd speak to agents to get an idea of the availability of the cast. Usually I check on the availability of the cast before I start running an event around a show. That doesn't always work out though, because I was promised some great people when I first looked at Glee, and when I first looked at Orphan Black, and when I looked at Bridget. Well, I didn't even look at Bridgerton. The agents came to me. And then suddenly when you announce the event, suddenly all the people you were told who were available suddenly aren't available. That's a whole different kettle of fish. But my attitude is, so long as I can sell enough tickets to cover its costs, then I'm very happy to keep on holding an event around a show. If it doesn't sell the required tickets, then I can't carry on with it, no matter how much of a fan I am myself. That's the business realities of it. And actually, I've been doing events now for 28 years, and I've covered a whole wide of shows. And I've got to say, the fandoms have always been, 99% of the time, the fandoms have always been fantastic. Some of the nicest people, and getting to hang out with some of these people, it's actually, I've got to experience different outlooks on life. And I think hanging out with certain fans has really made me a better person. I can only think of 3 occasions. There were 3 occasions where I didn't like the fan base at all, and so stopped running an event around that show because I didn't like the fan base. But across the 28 years, that's only happened 3 times. And on most of the shows I run, the fan bases have been absolutely amazing. And there's actually been a couple of occasions where, because the fans have been so nice and the cast have been so nice, I may have a show that's struggling on ticket sales, and I keep it going just because I enjoy dealing with those fans and dealing with that cast. So a lot of the attitudes have changed now on events in terms of viewing habits and what people expect, which is actually making it a bit harder. One of the things that has made it a lot harder now is that you have to have a huge name guest to sell the event straight off. And when I look back, and when I first started doing events, and when I did Buffy events and Angel events and Veronica Mars events, none of those events would sell today because the leads weren't interested. So you couldn't get the leads. So I got some of the supporting casts along, and there was still demand for it. You wouldn't get the demand today. Whereas on the other hand, I think my Bridgerton event, which I ended up having to cancel because we couldn't get any of the main people to it, that actually would have sold about 10 years ago because the demands were a lot less. And also what's changed and made things a lot harder is the style of way shows are now broadcast. It's moved from regular television into streaming television. Used to be, back in the day, you'd get 20, sometimes 26 episodes a year. Star Trek, you get 26 episodes of it a year. And on other shows like Farscape and Babylon 5 and Stargate, you get 20 episodes a year. And you get 1 episode a week, and you'd watch it, and you'd be waiting for the next episode, and you'd talk about it with all your friends, you'd talk about it online, and that would help build the fan base, help generate the momentum for it. And then the season would come to the end, and then you'd have a 3 or 4 month break, and then you get another season. So the momentum was maintained, and that really helped build up the fan bases. What we're seeing today is you see a show dropped directly on streaming, and you don't get now 20 episodes like you used to. You get 8 episodes, and they all drop at once, and people watch it all at once like it's a long form film, or they don't watch it straight away. But you can't talk about it online like people used to and build up the fan base that way, because people don't know where their friends are at it, so they can't discuss it. They don't know where everybody is and watching it, and that doesn't build up. And you watch the show for like those 8 episodes, and then there's a 2-year break. And over those 2 years, kind of all the momentum and the interest in it's lost. And I've actually been told that the Comic Cons, a lot of the show stars from these kind of like Netflix shows, within 3 months of the show airing, it's like really big, and then it dies immediately. So there's been a lot of shows that I've been a real big fan of myself and have really enjoyed, but I just don't think I could run a convention around it like Foundation or Silo, The Boys, Fallout, Last of Us, Slow Horses. There's been some really cool shows on at the moment, but because there's so many streaming channels and just the way that they're aired, you just can't build up the fan bases like you used to. So that's me rabbiting on a bit. for you, letting you know how I come to my ideas of what events I run and how I run an event, to give you an idea of what shows that I choose. You know, that's just me rabbling on. But now I'm going to move on to what events we have for 2026. And we've got an exciting year planned for 2026. Not everything is set at the moment. We're still working on stuff, but we've got some great things in the works. And our first event for 2026 is going to be Starfury Into the Fold. And that's going to be our third event celebrating the television series Shadow and Bone. We've got a great lineup of guests attending that one. We've got joining us Daisy Head, Archie Renault, Amita Suman, Kit Young. Kit, due to scheduling, because of his schedule at the moment, he'll be attending for the Sunday only. We've got Danielle Gallagher, Freddie Carter, and the show star Jessie May Lee. So those are the guests that we have attending for us at Starfury Into the Fold. That's taking place the 27th of February to the 1st of March, and it's at the Renaissance Hotel. Tickets are still available. This is only going to be a small event, but it's really friendly. You'll get lots of quality time with the actors, and it's a lovely fan base. Amazing cosplay. So really fun. The last two were really fun events. As I said, there's certain shows which, even though they don't sell big, if I like the fans and if I like the cast, I keep on with the show a bit more. And it's very much a case of that with Shadow and Bone. But it's a really fun event. We've still got some gold tickets. We haven't got a huge number. I think we've got about 20 or 30 gold tickets still left. So you still have an opportunity for the gold to have a sit-down chat with the actors. Photo ops are on sale at the moment. And also the Renaissance is taking the room bookings as well. So that Starfury Into the Fold is our first event for next year. Now, our second event is Starfury Flux. And with that one, we're going into Doctor Who. I've been a Doctor Who fan my entire life. Probably the first show that I actually remember watching as a kid. I never miss it. Always been with that show. And we've got a great selection of guests from New Who, crossing a lot of the other spin-off shows as well. Like from Class, we've got Sophie Hopkins and Fadi El Sayed. We also have some of the Torchwood cast, because it's the anniversary of Torchwood's coming up as well. We've got Kai Owen, Gareth David Lloyd, and Nyoko Mori. We've got the lovely Annette Badland joining us, along with Gemma Redgrave. And we also have Doctor Who companion Arthur Darvill joining us. We also have Mandip Gill, Nshuti Gatwa, Christopher Eccleston, and Jodie Whittaker. So that's our Doctor Who event, Starfury Flux. It's been a few years since we last did a Doctor Who event, but we've had so many requests for us to do another one. This one's virtually sold out. There's about 100, 150 tickets left. So if you wanted to join us for that one, you need to get your tickets soon. Photo ops and also the fan meets are available online to purchase now. I know a lot of people are a bit frustrated that you can't book your hotel rooms yet. I've been trying to, and I hope to have the link. I wanted to have it up by today. Should have the link up next week, but I've been arguing with the hotel to get the best rate. I'm really trying to do my best to get a decent rate for attendees of this event. Same with Crossroads, but we should have the link up before Christmas for that. That's our Doctor Who event. So tickets are on sale for that at the moment, but they're not going to be on sale for much longer. So if you're thinking about it, if you haven't got your ticket yet, gold are gone. They went almost immediately, but you can get your regular tickets now for that one. And then after that, the next event after that is Starfury Crossroads 11, our 11th supernatural event. That's going to be taking place from the 17th to the 19th of April, 2026 at the Hilton Metropole Hotel. We've got a great lineup of guests. We've got the lovely Kat Ramdeen. She's a lot of fun. She was with us at our first supernatural event. She's a lot of fun, that guest. We've got Chand Lindberg. We haven't had him at a Starfury event before. We're always getting requests for him, so now we're bringing him along. We've also got the lovely Julie McNiven, as well as Jeffrey Vincent Paris. We've got Samantha Ferris, Richard Spate Jr., Rob Benedict, Kim Rhodes, Christian Kane, and Mark Shepherd. That's a lovely lineup, really good selection of guests covering Supernatural. It's taking place from the 17th to the 19th of April. Now, as I said with our Doctor Who event Flux, I'm trying to get the hotel link so people can book their rooms next week out there. I'm just trying to get the best rate I can with the hotel at the moment. But that's going to be a really fun event. Supernatural fans are awesome. Tickets are available online. There's only around 300 or so tickets left for this event. I'm working on one more guest, but there's no guarantees on that. I'm trying to get a big name in, and they've said they want to do it, but it's all down to their schedule. And hopefully I should know about whether they can or they can't do it in mid-January. However, me saying I'm in talks with a big name doesn't mean there definitely is going to be one. So, but is in mid-January, I should know on this guest. It's quite a surprising one, quite a cool one. I think it'll be hugely popular. When I say I think they'd sell it out, the event looks like it's going to sell out anyway. Regular tickets are still available. All the gold are gone. Photo ops are available to purchase online for that event as well. Should have the room booking hopefully up next week. If you've purchased a ticket, I'll make sure we send an email out to everybody for Crossroads as well as for Flux when we have the room bookings available for that. Now, our next event, which takes place in May after that, for that one, we go back straight to the Renaissance Hotel in Heathrow, be a nice, small, friendly event, and that's our celebration of Star Trek, Starfury Warp 2. I've always been a Star Trek fan. Had never run a Star Trek event, though, although we did have the odd Trek guests along to my events. However, I was getting so much demand from people that we ran Warp 1 last year. It was a really lovely event. We got some cool Trek guests. Our first guest, though, isn't from Star Trek. Because Star Trek sci-fi show, I used to do with the Vampire Ball. I did this with my Firefly events. It's nice to mix in some cool guests from other similar related shows and from another sci-fi show, Warehouse 13. It's the lovely Alison Scagliotti, one of the most fun guests you'll ever meet. She's been great at past Starfury events, and I can't wait to welcome her back. We also have the lovely Caroline Seymour joining us. She played 3 different roles in Star Trek across Next Generation and Voyager, although she's also in Babylon 5 as well. But she's probably best known for the British sci-fi show, The Survivors. I watched that show again during the pandemic. That was not a time to watch that show again. Video game fans will also recognize her from Mass Effect. We also have some Star Trek Discovery, Eve Harlow. From Star Trek Voyager, we've got Martha Hackett. We've got Todd Stashwick, who appeared in Star Trek Picard. And we've got the 2 Klingons, Robert O'Reilly and J.G. Hertzler. It's always going to be fun with them along. And an amazing individual, Armin Shimmerman. Armin used to do my Buffy events back in the day. Armin's done not just Deep Space Nine. He was on Buffy. He was on Stargate. He's done so much. He's a really cool actor, an absolutely lovely guy, and he's going to be a great guest for this. I'm working on one more guest for this, who again, like with on Crossroads, has said they're going to let me know in January based on their availability. And whenever I say that, I always see people then go online, Sean will be announcing the next guest in January. Actually, they'll be letting me know on January if they're available or not. And if they're not available, then I'm back to square one in getting another guest. But this is a good one. Like with Crossroads, it's somebody I feel it's worth holding out for because I think they'll make a great addition for the event. Now, after that, my next few events, we haven't got anybody set up for those. We'll be announcing some guests in the next few weeks. Now, the first one is Invasion 2026. That's our celebration of Star Wars, very much focusing on the Disney Plus shows. However, we will looking like we're going to be expanding beyond that for the next one with some Star Wars guests further afield on the franchise. That's going to be taking place from the 26th to the 28th of June, 2026 at the Hilton Metropole Hotel, Birmingham. It's looking like I've got somebody huge. Actually, it's looking like I've got two people who are huge. We'll have to see, though, because you think you've got somebody, and then until the contract's signed, anything can happen. But the first event, we had Mary Elizabeth Winstead. For the second event, we had Diego Luna. We had two amazing guests across those two events. And really, we're continuing that tradition. We're getting, there's two people I'm in negotiations with who are absolutely massive. One of them hasn't done a European event, and it's just going to be huge. But we're just going to have to wait and see how it goes. So keep an eye out if you're a Star Wars fan for Starfury Invasion. There are exciting things in the works. I think we pulled it out on the last two Invasion events, and I think we're going to pull out something even bigger for the next one. After that, we have Starfury Highlanders, our 8th celebration of the television series Outlander. Now, that's going to be taking place from the 17th to the 19th of July at the Hilton Metropole Hotel in Birmingham. That will be our celebration of the television series Outlander. And then in August, we'll be back at the Renaissance Hotel in Heathrow, and we're going to be celebrating Motherland Fort Salem and Warrior Nun, and it's looking like two other shows as well at Starfury Witch Bomb. Contracts are going through on a couple of guests on that one at the moment, but I'm not in a position to announce anybody. But that's from 7th to the 9th of August, 2026 at the Renaissance Hotel in Heathrow. Also in August, we have our celebration of Stargate, and that's Starfury Ascension. Now, Starfury Ascension's taking place at the Hilton Metropole Hotel. And that's taking place from the 28th to the 30th of August. Got a great lineup of guests, including Alex Zahara, Dan Payne, Rainbow Sun Franks, Corin Nemec, Lexa Doig, Terrell Rothery, Michael Shanks, Amanda Tapping, and Richard Dean Anderson. I think that's one of the most amazing lineups of Stargate cast. I think we've got as much as you're going to get of the Stargate main cast for the first Stargate series, Stargate SG-1, there together at an event. That's going to make for amazing guest talks, going to make for amazing photo op opportunities, taking place on the 28th to the 30th of August at the Hilton Metropole Hotel in Birmingham. Photo ops are available now. I think that's going to be an amazing event. So, and that's proving very popular. The last announced event that we have of the year is Starfury Lux 4. We had a little break, but I'm bringing the Lucifer event back. So that one is taking place at the Hilton Metropole Hotel in Birmingham from the 25th to the 27th of September. Probably be announcing further guests around January, February period. Currently, we only have Amy Garcia signed up for that one, but we have other guests that we're working on. I think that's going to be a cool event as we return to Lucifer. Fan base still seems passionate for that. We'll probably have one or two more events in 2026. We're currently rescheduling our Hannibal event because we couldn't get the headline guest that we wanted for that event. So we're now moving the dates to try and accommodate them. So we should be able to update when the Hannibal event is taking place in the next month, probably about 2 to 3 months it's going to take, but we should be able to update attendees shortly. I've also been looking at Interview with a Vampire. That's one show I'm looking at whether to do an event on that next year. Seems to be a lot of fans for that. Was looking at One Tree Hill because they're bringing that back next year. I think it's going to come back next year. It's on Netflix. I don't know when. I know it's starting production soon. Not sure when it'll air, but once a new series there, I'm going to be looking at bringing a convention in for that. And I've also been looking at a show called Virgin River because most of the cast would like to do an event in the UK. So if fans let me know if they're interested in that one as well. Those are 3 of the shows that I'm looking at the moment. Also, one of my friends, there's a friend of mine who's running an event, not a Starfury event, but worth checking out. Unfortunately, it's the same weekend as my Outlander event. Otherwise, I'd be at that one. I can't unfortunately go to that one because I'll be running my Outlander event. But he's running the official Red Dwarf convention. He's got the whole cast together. He's got the producers. He's got a huge number of guests. And that's July 18th to the 19th. You can learn more about that on the website, which is Red Dwarf Official. Go to the website, Red Dwarf Official. If you're a fan of Red Dwarf, it's be a great event. And also another one of my friends has got a Comic-Con next January. You'll see me at that. I will be able to attend that. That'll probably be the first convention that I go to as an attendee next year. That's MegaCon Live, and that's taking place at the London Excel Centre from the 24th to the 25th of January. So that's it, really. No much new information, but a lot of people have been saying we hadn't had a Facebook Live in a while. Also, to let you know, if you check on our Twitter page, we've got a competition at the moment for a Funko Pop. Yes, you can win a Funko Pop of Jack Crusher from Star Trek Picard, signed by the actor who played him, Ed Spiliers. And if you follow us on Twitter and then retweet the post about this, then you could win this and you have this sent to you. I always get at each event the guests to sign a couple of Funko Pops, and we use that for a weekly competition on our Facebook, on our Twitter page. So you go on our Twitter page, and that's something fun to do on a weekly basis. So that's all we've got to talk about for today. I'll be back on December 26th when I'll be running through everything that happened with Starfury in 2025. Really looking forward to having a chat with all you guys then. Other than that, make sure you get your tickets bought. That's what I like to see. Keep the tickets selling, and I can keep running the events. I hope I'll see you at a Starfury event in 2026. If not, stay well. And in the meantime, I hope that you all have a wonderful Christmas and a very, very happy, well, whatever your faith, you have a wonderful holiday of the season. And I hope you all have a wonderful new year and a great 2026.